everybody, and welcome to the penultimate episode of Politics and Plagues. I am your storyteller, Miriam, and we have a wonderful group of players, new and old, which we will get to shortly. But before we begin, I'd like to just go over give a quick shout out to Roll20, who is our season sponsor, Tabletop Loot, So Nerdware, and Devin Rue for sponsoring and supporting this channel. We are still in September, which means that subs are half off. And as a little incentive to get those juicy subs, anyone who subscribes at tier 1 or gives us 500 bits will have a player gets a reroll. And if it's a tier 2 subscription or 1,000 bits, then a player gets a crit, or in this case, it's a 12 on the roll. In addition, if you'd like to support us, we have our Patreon. Our Patreon supports the bulk of our operations here, and if you want to keep the conversation going, as always, join us on our amazing Discord. If you type exclamation mark with sponsors or with Patreon or Discord, I forgot to add the S. Anyways, if someone can type that in for me, I would very much appreciate that because I'm having trouble multitasking just a little bit. Thank you. So now, let's quickly go around the table and introduce our players and our characters, and we'll get more into our character descriptions when we begin our game. So let's start on the left of me. Yeah, that's my left. Fox.
Hey folks, my name is Fox Barrett, and today I'll be playing Sharmilla, the human fighter.
And Lauren.
Hi, I am Lauren, and today I am playing Yasmin, the Furbolg Granger.
Simon.
Hello, I am Simon, and I am playing Madur, the Elephant Folk Bard.
And Angela.
Hello there, everybody. I am going to be playing Ibrahim, otherwise known as Aubrey, the medically inclined, water-inclined wizard.
And last but certainly not least, one of our two new players, Ulfrig.
Hi, I'm Ulfrig, and I'll be playing Ifran, the Fire Genasi Immolator, because fire.
Fire's good. All right. Does anybody want to, from the three returning players, give a very quick summary of what all happened last session?
I'm busy picking an advanced move, so I call not it.
I can recap half of it.
Well, why don't you start with the first half, and I'll pick up for you.
Okay. I can recap a little bit of half of it. I was really out of it last time. I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I don't mean to put people on the spot. It's mostly I always find that whenever the players give a summary, it's way better than anything I could give.
Well, to the best of my recollection, so not last session, but the session prior to that, we had discovered that not only are the people in Firdaus experiencing some kind of disease and tensions are running very high, but there's also some kind of infighting going on between two rival courtesan houses. So we went to assist a dancer from the upper class house, Gulbahar, and healed one of their dancers who said that she'd been attacked by somebody from the lower class house, Ungar Khanna. When we went to investigate, we discovered, by means of Yasmin's cousin, who is hiding out there, that one of their dancers had been attacked in a very similar way to the first dancer, and claimed that they had been attacked by somebody from the Gulbahar. So we have two factions with the same setup that are being pushed against each other for some reason by some third party, or somebody within one of the houses that wants to create discord. In addition to that, we did a little looking into the disease itself, and we investigated some of the people that were sick at a quarantined camp. And we learned a little bit about the disease itself, any potential connections to the algae that's growing in the lake, which that seems unclear, and the other like splotchy colored symptoms on the skin. It's some kind of magic, maybe, we don't know. And some people have died as a result of it. So the heat is on. And the people that are in charge of that camp are not necessarily doing the best job that they could be, to make sure that everyone is being fed and cared for. And Sharmila did a really good job of making sure that proper food, at least, was being given to these people. So
I was
we'll
very
see if that
angry.
actually happens.
Yep. Shaming
Grr.
shaming the captain of the guard into getting some resources and food for.
Can't put people in a box and then not feed them. That's not okay.
Yep. That is definitely not okay. So with that wonderful summary, thank you, Mother Simon. We go, with our wibbly wobbly, tiny wimey, a little playing around with that. Around the same time, in a different area, the camera pans towards some beds in which lay people in various states of whatever this unknown plague is. Ifran, what brings you to this tent?
My daughter Dashti, who is a woman in her early 30s, has fallen ill with the plague.
And can you take a moment to describe what your character looks like?
Yeah, so Ifran is in his late 50s, early 60s. He is a fire genasi with bright gold-orange hair with a couple of whiter fire streaks through it. He wears very plain clothes, but they are shot through with these impossibly fine metallic threads that kind of glimmer and reflect off of his hair as he walks. And as he is sitting by the bedside, he is messing with something in his hands and melding a piece of metal into a little sculpture of a desert bird.
Awesome. And Dashti lays on the bed, unmoving, just sort of sleeping in a very deep sleep. The past 1 or 2 days that you've been visiting, Dashti hasn't woken up and has been in a deep slumber. Your friend, who will be here in a couple of minutes, they said they would follow after you, had mentioned that this is a good sign. This is better than what others have been. Okay. I will quickly do something because this keeps happening. That it's better than some of the other people around her who are not as lucky. If she's in a deep slumber, that means her body's trying to heal, which is always a good thing. And after a few minutes, your friend, or maybe acquaintance, arrives. Aubrey, what are you doing here?
There's probably a sense of frenetic or at least tense energy about her as she's coming in, and is probably pulling out of a small bag a bunch of different like notes that she's been keeping in a book that just has like a quill or something. She's been trying to like find ink. Like she's at the point where like she's trying to find ink to like write with it again, but she's like increasingly doing like the thing where a pen's like not working and trying to get the last bit of it out. Like she's in that kind of frustration, and she's not realizing it's out of like she needs to dip it again. She's just that level of like annoyed and frustrated with everything. But yeah, she's coming in and she's like trying to like get whatever like last note she can before she has to talk to anybody else.
Yeah, and you see Ifran, who was waiting for you with some news of what's going on. You see Dashti in the bed. What do you do?
Oh, you're here. Kinar. Oh, Kinar. Oh, this has been far too many days of this already.
Is there any news? Anything?
It's. If you've ever heard the expression wit's end, I've been past that for about 3 days now.
She's still asleep. So I think that's a good sign. You said that's a good sign.
It's better than dead. It's better than dead.
I've been putting warm and cold cloths on her forehead, like you suggested, and I've been doing it for a couple of the others too. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference, but I've been doing it anyway. Can I help you?
It's fine. I haven't slept in about a day or two. This is about normal for me. Don't worry.
Okay. And I stand up and gesture to my chair, and I'm basically like handling Aubrey into it at this point.
I'm fine. And she's like trying to like keep her like outfit all together and everything, and like keep her clothes like looking nice. Like there's a certain level of like she tries to be like set and looking calm, and like she knows how to assess the situation even when she's like obviously very tired and out of it.
And as you are sitting and fussing, you hear a loud shouts outside and a familiar. What color is your hair, Sharmila?
Let me check my notes. Red-brown.
A very familiar. First of all, the voice kind of tickles your memory just a little, and then the very familiar shot of red brownish hair as you see. This is like the last place you would expect to hear someone so familiar in the city, as you see Sharmila yell at the captain of the guard and then stomp off.
Ifran is utterly torn between wanting to stay here with his daughter and wanting to chase Sharmila. I think he's going to turn to Aubrey and say, "Will you stay with her for a minute?"
Fine.
Okay.
Go.
Thank you. I'll be right back. And Ifran goes running outside and says, "Sharmila, is that you?"
Ifran, my old friend, and like immediately comes in for a hug. Like, I want to hug you.
Ifran is a little uncomfortable with that, but returns it.
This is probably not the first time Sharmila has tried to do this.
Hi, what are you doing here? This isn't a good place for you to be.
This isn't a good place for anyone to be. Have you seen the way they've been treating these people? What are you doing here? You're not sick, are you?
I'm not, but you remember Dashti, of course.
Yeah?
Dashti has fallen ill. Do you want to see her? She's sleeping,
yes,
but
yes,
maybe if you were to talk to her, maybe. And
please,
kind of grabbing Sharmila and lead her inside the tent.
Yeah, like I can't move fast enough to get there.
So before we continue with the scene, I just want to place where everyone else is. I believe Yasmin, after the break last session, I had said you had gone out to go hunting with Sayad and to sort of calm Sayad down. It is up to you when you think would be appropriate to join the scene. Mother, you were, I believe, still around the tents area. Are you still there?
Yeah, I think, as I recall, I had come out of the tent, and Sharmila and I were talking about, like, well, what had just happened, and we were kind of discussing next steps. So I think I'm like, maybe my back is turned, and I'm like Madura's like taking in everything, like, oh, what are we gonna do? And like we're just in over our heads, and then hears this whole thing happen, and turns around and I think watches it happen, but doesn't step in immediately to intrude,
Okay.
and sees Tramilla's like clearly like doing a thing, like zooming off,
Yeah.
and so it's like, well, and just kind of shuffles after and like waits by the edge of the tent entrance, like listening but not trying to be intrusive.
Okay, and Karuna sort of is taking a look and at everything and says, "Well, I think I will go see what the river and the lake can tell us." And I'm so sorry if I'm doing a really bad impression of you, Jess. And we miss you, and hopefully you can come for the last episode. But Karuna then shuffles off to go and investigate. All right, back to Sharmila and Ifran and people sort of trailing behind. Continue.
Sorry, Madura.
It's fine. Go for it.
I'm scared for my friend. Like, yeah, like as Ifran like leads me in, like I'm immediately going to Dashti's side. And go ahead.
Dashti is laying there very, like, in some sort of very deep sleep. Like, you're pretty sure if you just started clanging bells in front near her ears or whatever trying to wake her up, she would not wake. And her skin's hot but clammy. But then that might be hard given that she's also a fire Gensai.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But the one thing that definitely stands out compared to all the like very clearly is that there's these bright blue dots dotting her body wherever it's visible.
Yeah, like I like start to reach for her arm, but then like kind of stop just short and kind of fold my hands on my lap and look up to Ifran and go, how long has it, when did this happen?
Almost a week ago, she said she wasn't feeling very well, and within a day or two, it was while we came down here to see if someone could help.
Ifran, I'm so sorry.
What do you know?
Not much. I mean, we know it's sort of... Hi, the player is trying to remember because he's looking through her notes here. We knew it was kind of magical, but not like a curse and not a spell. It was like a magically active bacteria or something, I think is what we arrived at. Something along those lines. Anybody?
Contact base was the biggest takeaway, I think, that had been made clear.
Right, it's not airborne.
It doesn't seem to also be waterborne either.
Yeah.
I don't want to detract from the moment, but I do have a ability that may have been pertinent that I didn't recall to use at the time.
Ooh.
Yes.
Bardic lore.
Yeah, sure. We could certainly see.
So you can tell me if this doesn't fit. So the move is when you first encounter an important creature, location, or item, your call, covered by your bardic lore, ask a question to the GM, and they will answer truthfully. The GM will then ask you what tale, song, or legend you heard that information in. And my area of expertise is spells and magics.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the bacteria would fall under that, but feel free to...
I will tell you this. It's sort of an enhancement to what you figured out last session, which is that it's definitely not any curse or hex, but in fact it's probably like some sort of like magical enchantment or boost to a regular disease to make sure it's more potent. You're not quite I don't think you have enough expertise as you yourself, Mother, to know in what way it has been made potent, but it has definitely been sort of enhanced.
It's been altered, right?
Yeah, which means that there's a certain amount of intention to this.
Yeah. Do we know what disease yet, or?
It is it is some sort of a plague that is, but the thing is that, I'll say, it's some sort of a plague that's actually not very lethal, except for very vulnerable populations, but somehow this has been made to be much more lethal.
Somebody made the flu into like pneumonia, essentially.
Yeah. And also make it very viral. Like, sorry, not viral, virulent in terms of like, something that could easily sort of like, okay, yeah, it would take maybe weeks. It's shortened the length, and it's making it contagious.
Highly contagious, yeah. The other thing of note, too, is that this isn't happening in the upper parts of the city. It's only down here in the lower wards.
Right.
That's the only place we've seen anybody affected.
Yeah, which means there's some source causing it in the lower district.
All we know is it's affecting people down here, and it's not in the water. Beyond that, we haven't been able to really rule anything out.
Aubrey, they know it's not in the water. Is that information you had?
Yes. I was actually just about to say, if we wanted a narrative justification for the bardic lore kicking in, like, this could be the moment where, like, Aubrey is just like, all the stuff Mariam just said.
Yes.
But like it's said not as kindly as Mariam said it. It's said in like a more exasperated, like, this is what we know. This is what we know. This is what we know. This is what I know. I knew about the spots to an extent because I've been looking and speaking to them. That's about all that I know.
Ifron's eyes flash a little bit at the spots bit. That was not information that Ifron had.
And we've been trying to. We thought we were investigating a dancer, but now I guess we're investigating. Oh geez. Hi, this is my friend Madur. Madur, this is Ifron, and this is his daughter, Vashti.
Leans in like, I clearly wasn't listening. Yes, pardon me, I didn't want to intrude. Yes, hello. I wish the circumstances under which I could meet a companion of my colleague Sharmila's would be more pleasant.
I would wish so as well, but it is a pleasure to meet you even in such terrible conditions.
Okay. I want to come in, but I want to do something before I do.
Sure.
Can I roll wild empathy?
Sure.
You can speak with and understand animals.
That's not a roll. You just get that.
Oh,
You just get that.
okay.
Any animal, you can just talk to them, and they talk back, and you understand them.
Okay. How do I determine whether or not it's useful?
Well,
you ask the GM.
Yeah, you asked me. Who are you trying to converse with?
Because the last time I was here, we thought it was water-based. While I'm out hunting with Syad's off getting some rabbits and stuff, and I'm going to come back with the bits of rabbits and stuff that I haven't fed to my bird.
Yep.
Well, my bird friend, he is not my bird, he is my bird friend. I'm going to talk to are there like ducks that live in the water here, or like?
Yeah, there. I would say there would be some waterfowl. Not necessarily. I don't actually know whether ducks are. I'm just gonna say, as a general, yes, there's waterfowl over there.
I would like to talk to some of the waterfowl and ask them if they've seen anything out of the ordinary going on lately. If any of the big talking individuals looking like they have ill intent, or if they have been fouling the water.
I see what you did there.
I have to go. Sorry.
Okay, so which part of the lake do you approach these waterfowl? Might be important.
All right, let's see. I want to be away from everyone. I'm going to say that I'm looking at the map. Okay, where is the quarantine area?
where the big red circle is.
Okay, I'm gonna be around the north side, close to the mouth of that river.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple of waterfowl hanging out, and they sort of look at you and are like, "Sup?"
Hi. So, quick question. While I'm here,
Yeah, you're here.
yes, while I'm here, my wonderful, wonderful, hopeful friends, have you seen anybody messing around with the water more than usual? Maybe making it really bad, bothering you more than usual?
Well, I mean, there's all the humans living on the lake. They can't swim. I don't know why they live there. They grow things
It's
over there. Sometimes we eat
it's
them.
weird, right?
Yeah.
Have you eaten anything that made you feel bad?
Huh. I don't know. Did you? Did you, Kaju? No, And then Kaju replies, "No, Pista. I haven't eaten anything bad. I mean, there's this dude near the bridge over there that sort of blackens meat but doesn't even do it properly. There's like some parts that are black and then there's some parts that are not even, that are just perfectly fine. I tried it, but it tastes really weird. It's like they don't even care about how they prepare it."
That sounds awful. I'm gonna look up. Is it the guy with the chicken lollipops?
Yep.
I'm gonna look and I'm just gonna little bit of a stink eye. But you haven't. Have you seen anybody who came over here and then started, like, I don't know, splashing onto the water and then throwing up, or
No, but there's this one weird place where it's only big enough for, like, I don't know, puts both his both his sort of web feet up about that many people. I don't know what is numbers. But like, it seems like there's like double or triple people that seem to come out of it. It's like this weird tent.
where is it? Do you know? Can you point me there?
And sort of waddles out of the water and points somewhat in the direction of here.
Okay. Thank you so much. You've been a lot of help, and here. And I'm going to take out some of my trail food, which is most I don't know, a lot of seed based, I guess, stuff that'll keep for a bit, hardtack, that sort of thing. Crumble it up and give it to them. Thank you for your time.
And they sort of bite into it, and it's like, this is some good quality stuff. 10 on 10 would recommend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to call Sayad and start heading to that way.
Yep.
Is that heading me back to the group?
If you keep you sort of notice them and you can kind of enter at any point. Back to the tent.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. These ducks have names?
Of course they have names. They're ducks.
No, like amongst themselves and like a concept of mathematics. I'm sorry, not ducks, waterfowl. These waterfowl have culture.
There's definitely something in the water.
They're people.
Why do you think I said duck can't coo?
I am. Okay, Sharmilla's vegan now because holy shit. Oh my god.
Sharmilla doesn't know though. Sharmilla doesn't know. She's just eating them.
Yep. I'm sorry.
We're just gonna play
I apologize.
now.
Hey, I just learned. Did we learn something important about the world? Yeah, ducks have names for each other. Holy shit.
Life is like a hurricane.
We broke Angela again. It's a running theme. How many times we can break Angela?
Yeah, the sign that says it's been this many days since you've broken Angela, it goes between 0 and 1. There's no number past that.
Just
It
you
has
just
been
flip it
0
back and
days
forth.
since our
And
last
it's not
nonsense.
even one day, it's like one session. Like it doesn't take that much to break me. I enjoy these sessions so much.
Okay, go.
Anyway.
Aside from intelligent waterfowl with names that are basically nuts, literally nuts. Because it's not like I'm chewing on granola bars and that's where I came up with the names.
You're the GM. You get to call the weird duck culture whatever the hell you want. Your world.
So return back to the tent where more gravitas. And you are all discussing different thoughts and ideas that have been put together as Yasmin slowly makes her way in. How would you enter, Yasmin?
Pushing through. Well, first, Syad would fly through.
And you
So,
hear a couple of
talking.
you hear a couple of like squeaks and squeals of like, oh my god, there's a bird in this tent. What is the bird doing in this tent? Ah!
Sayad.
And all of a sudden, just bird flies in.
Yep.
Behind it, tall, gangly Yasmin just pushes open the doors, recognizes two familiar faces, and says, "The ducks led me here."
Yes.
And they speak
Get
with
out of the
animals.
heat, child.
That explains a lot. Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm Ifran.
Hi, I'm Yasmin. Why did the ducks leave me here?
I
suppose that is a question only you can answer.
Yes, I was about to say
They
I
said
don't-
there was a lot of people here, and it sounded suspicious. So there are a lot of people here. None of them look really happy. Why are you here? Also, hi.
Hi.
Yes, this
Welcome
is
back, Yasmin.
She is our tracker and wilderness expert.
She speaks with animals. It's
I do.
quite impressive.
I gathered as much.
I'm here to help look after my daughter. Aubrey is here doing the same thing. And sometimes helping these other people.
I'll be quieter. I'm sorry.
It's okay. She's sleeping.
That's why I'm gonna be quieter.
Oh, it's okay, Yasmin. I don't think she's waking up right now.
Oh,
Sayad says to you, I think those waterfowl were talking about, you're off by like 10 degrees. Yasmin.
oh.
This
Okay,
wasn't
the
the
ducks
day.
actually wanted us to go over there.
Over. Oh, okay.
So,
Did the duck say why?
I asked them if anything was suspicious and if anybody had been messing with the water, or if anybody went into the water and came out throwing up or looking sad. And they pointed me over here. Well, over there. But I thought we were coming over. Anyway, we need to go over there because the ducks might have information.
Fran, I would not normally ask you to leave her side right now like this, but
I can
If
leave
it's-
Syad if you.
I don't think a bird is really what
I'm
she
not
needs right now.
babysitting.
Please.
Well, if I asked you very nicely and if I gave you the rest of this rabbit.
Okay, that's not sanitary.
I think
Give
I'm
me
fine.
another rabbit.
Okay, I will give you 2 rabbits. By the way, y'all are just hearing this.
No.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
that's why Aubrey's just having the increased like look of someone who's just like, am I the only one here who's understanding how like what's the phrase you use, Fox? Bow honkers the situation.
Hankers.
Bow hankers.
Bow hankers.
Bow hankers. The whole situation is like she has that look of
Bow
like
hankers.
like the best way I can describe Aubrey's face right now is something akin to being the only person on the Titanic who knows what's about to happen. Like that's the look she has on her face. Like,
Yeah, Yasmin. There's plenty of, I guess they're not doctors, they're there's plenty of medical professionals, and I'm blanking on whatever the word for them would be around.
Healers.
Healers.
Healer.
Thank you. That is absolutely what I'm looking
It's
for.
fine. Terminology is difficult. It changes.
It's okay, strange person. Yasmin, there's plenty of healers around. She's as good here without you. Better Saeed stays with you. He's more helpful in your company because you're the only one who can talk to him.
Also, if I might ask, please do not leave a potential cause of more infection of some other kind of a raw
Sayat is very clean.
And
She's-
sort of starts breathing and
she's
does like,
not-
of course I'm clean, sort of a look.
she starts like pointing like very explicitly and obviously at the dead rabbits. She's just like, please, no.
It's dinner.
Yeah, you know
Do you
what?
want some?
Absolutely. Let's go outside. Let's just go.
Perhaps it would be better to
Yes.
have the rest of this conversation in open air.
Yeah. Ifran, take whatever time you need. We'll be out there.
My dear
I'm just
elephant friend.
pushing Yasmin at this point.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
really nice meeting you.
Of course. And Ifran takes the little silver bird that he's been sculpting and he just places it in Dashti's hand and
It
gives her a
just
little kiss on the
lies there.
forehead and then heads out after them. And you see lined up on the bed behind her about 4 or 5 more of the same little birds.
So as you head out, it is starting to approach sunset. The amount of time you spent investigating and going around down, it's now like the sun, you can actually start seeing it slowly starting to dip into the mountains behind. There's still a lot of sunlight left, but it's getting close. The day is getting older. What do you do?
I think at this point, probably having spotted Ifran leaving another one of the little bird statues, Aubrey had just turned to Ifran and be like pull back her sleeves because I never actually described what she looked like when I introduced her. She's got multicolored eyes and she's wearing effectively, if anyone's seen the article that floated around a while back of the, I think it was a lesbian couple of India and Pakistan who got married. Her outfit is the sherwani that one of I think the woman from Pakistan is wearing. It's just a little bit more like blue tone kind of colors to play a little bit more with the Kinar sort of temples. And oddly enough, I think her hair color is closer to Fox's actual hair color, except more magenta-y and more blues to it in terms of how it is. And she like rolls back these long sleeves, and she has a bunch of bangles that look like there's little like locks and like little presses of buttons on some side that it looks like she's configured herself. And like you see her like press one of them and pull out another piece of metal that she just hands over to Ifran. Can't keep giving you all of these to make them.
I appreciate the gesture, though, and I will repay you someday.
It's repay me with more information or helping me figure this out, because I'm running out of materials to write all this down in and to express my frustration about this whole thing.
You know I am at your service and in your debt for what you have done so far. And he starts picking at the metal to make another bird as they're walking. And noticing that Aubrey's pen isn't working, just stops for a moment and grabs the ink pot out of their bag and just holds it up to her.
They are her. Either one works. She's fine with either one. And she's like, "Oh right, oh god." Now she turns over to like Mother and Yasmin. So my apology. Well, to the other three, my apologies for the rather brusque nature of how I'm talking. I have been here with some of the healers. since this whole thing began. And it has been a mess trying to figure out and manage the situation. Normally, when anything of this sort happens, we document it, we get a clear sense of what the progression will be, and then we stop it before we predict well enough ahead of time what will happen, and we stop it. But this is baffling, and I've even gone to get additional training to look into this at some of the other temples to see what I could do about this, and it's not helping. And normally, I have a sense of what to do in these situations.
Have you rejoined us?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Are you
I,
still
I
separate?
think we're all outside.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
all
Talking at
outside.
this moment.
Fantastic.
We're all outside talking at this moment. Like, I was just giving a thing to Efron, and then, like, turning to all of you, I'm like...
No, I get that. I just wanted to make sure I could, like, I was physically in the presence, which is so I can say, like, friend, we'll go to where the ducks lead us. We will find answers.
Normally, I would treat this sort of thing with suspicion, but if you have faith in our tall friend here, I believe in you. By the way, my name is Aubrey. I did not...
Oh.
My manners escaped me.
Sorry, I'm Sharmila. Hello.
Sure. So it turns to the tall elephant folk and the taller furball.
That's Madur. He's amazing. And that's Yasmin.
Hi.
She's also pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You talk to animals. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And you see Sayad is nibbling on the rabbit.
Let's continue, Efron. I think this may be our best lead outside of the other thought I've had, which is one I've been trying to avoid for days to consider. But
Let's find the ducks.
Well,
We can talk after.
technically the ducks were way over there, but they told me to go over there. So maybe there'll be ducks there. I don't know.
Well,
I haven't
been there.
The ducks.
Okay.
you are currently here, and the
Yeah, with
ducks
that
have
little-
pointed you somewhere here.
Okay. A little bit more northeast outside of that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
area.
Ring
and,
there.
And you notice, as you're approaching, that the captain of the guard, by this point, with all these conversations, there's like three or four sort of apple carts, or not apple carts, sort of, like a 24 back crate sort of a thing. So one of those, like, filled with, I guess, fresh veggies or whatever they could get at the market, at the day market, and they're basically just handing it to the people that are being sort of thrown into the quarantine, and it's like, here, take this with you, and sort of pushing them in.
It seems as though your words did not fall into the void.
Even though their manners did.
What words? What did you?
I had to yell at the guards because they didn't realize you have to feed people.
They weren't. They weren't feeding.
They weren't giving them food, no.
They weren't giving them food.
They are now.
It's just like she's like 5 foot tall and she sinks like 2 feet into herself.
Friend, do you need something to eat? You seem very weak.
I have had worse. She's like nearly slumped to the ground, but she's like holding up her finger. I have had worse.
Still
Yasmin's
suffering.
going to take the remainder of the rabbits that she hunted and hand them to the next person that she sees passing her by with some of the food, and say, here, make sure to pass these around.
Okay,
You can put them in stew and they'll last a while.
but what if we don't have firewood?
Can I take the rabbits in my hand and just light a small flame and kind of like instant
Yeah, they're
char
already
them?
skinned, so
Yeah.
they're pre-skinned.
And they say, like, they're just a little concerned because now the vegetables are also burning just a little, and the cart is the wood of the crate is catching fire. They're like, ah!
I snap my fingers again and the flames go out.
Thanks.
I'm still learning to control that. I'm sorry.
From that is a marvelous gift.
That's
One
incredible.
that I have never seen before.
Thank you. And Ifron is looks a little nervous at everyone kind of staring at him all of a sudden, and is like, "Shall we go visit the ducks?"
Yes, let us continue along our path.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, for sure, Mila, it's like not even like, yep, he makes fire. It's like doesn't even phase her at all.
That is really useful.
It comes in handy. Yes.
And Aubrey, don't worry. We're eating soon, I'm sure, after we investigate this next area. I will cook for you. It will be all right.
Sharmila's a really good cook.
Thank you.
I look forward to it. I've not had food in several hours and probably not slept in more.
Okay, we need to figure this out soon so you could eat and then sleep.
Irrelevant. The information is much more important in this situation than that. Please, let us keep going.
So you're eventually led past on the path sort of near the lakeshore, and you go to sort of further north, and you notice just north off the fenced off area, there are a few merchant tents where people didn't want to necessarily live, where they also sell their wares temporarily. And you notice there is 2 or 3 sort of nice tents that looks like it could host a family or two within it. You see, this is where there is like a one very well-to-do banga, like just from the colorings and everything, and sort of recognizing mother. One of the better off banga merchants who probably sells their wares not at the lower district market, but in the Gulbahar area, where there's some more fancier goods. You see a Sikandari tent that is mostly like there's almost like this bubble of personal space around it, sort of a feel like there's no actual physical or magical thing, just this sort of like, we want to have this much space between everyone else. And there is another there's a Mahajan tent, which, similar to the Banga tent, you think also sells their wares it's in the sort of well-to-do district. And this is the area that the waterfowl had alluded to. You notice that the Banga tent and the Mahajan tent there's one person just there keeping watch. Looks like the merchants will be coming back soon for end of day. The Sikandari tent looks there's like 2 or 3 people in very well kept armor and very well kept spears sort of standing guard in front of the entrance.
Is that normal? Like, is that a more like militant culture?
You think so? It's a lot of what they sell in the lower district is basic metal armor and armaments, and some things that are brought in from that are secondary specific, like some very hard liquors, cheeses, things like that. But their finest wear, like what they really excel at, is metal and leather armor and arms. It's
not entirely out of.
Yeah, it's not necessarily weird, but it's also sort of like, it's just a merchant tent. Why are there 2 or 3 people overlooking it?
Like, what could they possibly have that's so requires that kind of security?
Yeah. So that's what you see. What do you do?
Okay, the ducks said that a lot of people usually come out from a small area here.
And?
And it sounded suspicious.
Oh, okay.
I see.
I turned to Medora.
Well, let us take a lay of the land and perhaps peruse some of these wares, and perhaps in the course of seeing what is here, the avian information may be more clear to us.
I want to. Sorry.
Go for it.
I want to try to roll discern realities. I don't think I'm gonna.
Sure. Discern realities.
While you're doing that, I'm going to go
Ooh,
talk to
nice.
Hey.
Whoa!
That's a
You
hot
can
10.
ask me 3 questions.
Okay. What here is not what it appears to be?
Definitely the secondary tent seems, it just seems like, again, similar to what you had been discussing, far too much security for essentially a merchant tent, even if it is arms and armament. I mean, the Mahajan tent and certainly the Banga tent might sell some local arms and armament, but again, there's only one person, and it's really just to make sure that the tent is not left unattended. It's not really security, whereas the two or three guards that are in the secondary tent are alert and watchful, like they're expecting something. Who knows?
Okay.
And
Staring
there's
at this
also
crowd
that
that's
bubble.
staring at them.
Yeah, and there's like this bubble of like empty area where it's like, making sure that they can see in all directions.
Okay. What happened here recently?
That's actually a question that me as a GM doesn't quite know how to answer, because I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, what in relatively recent events has occurred here, and what signs of that do we see?
Okay.
If anything, hold on. Let's pump the brakes on this. If the answer is nothing, you can always just answer that to one of our
That is a
questions.
totally
Yeah.
valid answer
Yes.
for Ginger. Yeah.
Yes.
You see what looks to be certain crates near the back of the secondary tent that look like they had been emptied recently.
Okay.
Like a shipment of some kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's really in control here?
Each of the merchants with their own tents.
Okay. Well, that tent looks a little weird. And there's some crates back there that look. Did you say it looks like they just got a shipment, or that the shipment had just been picked up?
Well, it seemed like it would have contained stuff, but it's
Okay.
like when you order, not necessarily that these are booze, I'm just giving an example, like when you've ordered like a whole bunch of booze and then the booze gets used or eaten up, and then the crate that was carrying them is kind of just thrown in the back.
Okay.
Bunch of Amazon boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of empty Amazon boxes.
Yeah.
So those crates, it looks like something was delivered in them. And yeah, I don't know, something here doesn't seem right.
They sell arms, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go over to these nice guards people.
And immediately as you approach them, they get very alert, and you notice that their spears that are facing the tent entrance just immediately sort of cross to prevent
Yes.
you from entering. And they say, "Move along. If you want to speak with the merchant, you must go to the lower district."
I am here to shop. Yes. And I am in need of more. I take my shield off my back. I am in need of better armaments, which clearly you have in abundance. So,
Yes, that would be the lower district. This is the personal quarters.
am interested in a more personal touch in what I'm shopping for.
Well, then you'll have to speak with our merchant in the lower district. No one enters here.
I could wait. I got time.
Then please wait over there. And they point to sort of their outside of their little bubble.
All right, so I walk backwards up to the edge of their little bubble, and kind of fold my hands in front of me and stare directly at them. How long do you How long do you think this will take?
Well, they return after dusk when the day market has closed.
Is there any way we could speed this up a little bit? I would very much like to speak with them.
You can go to the lower market.
That doesn't really work for me, no. I think I'll stay here.
Suit yourself.
Can I try assisting with one of my moves?
Sure. What particular move are you...
I was wanting to try Moth to the Flame, which is I tempt someone's weak mind with my inner flame, and I want to see if I can convince one of the guards to let us in the tent to wait for the merchant.
You can certainly try.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Yes!
12.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, on a 10 plus, their will is suppressed, and they'll follow you and do as you desire so long as nothing startles or surprises them.
Okay, so describe to me how you are tempting them.
So I come up beside Sharmila and bring her back up towards the guards again, and I say, So, and my hand is quite warm on the back of your armor as well. And I say, my friends, there's nothing to worry about here. We have an appointment this evening that perhaps the merchant has forgotten to tell you about. I am sure that he would want for all of us to wait in comfort and be shown the hospitality that this fellow is so widely known for. And as I do this, I'm just kind of playing with my my fingernails, and they're lighting up with flame one after the other as I'm running like my thumb along the top of them, and the effect is quite hypnotic.
And as they sort of look, initially they are very much wanting to object, and you get the sense they've got very clear commands of what's going on. But that fire that you're lighting kind of catches their eyes, and they say, "We would, but no one's allowed to enter the tent except the secondary merchants. We can get you chairs out here."
Oh, perhaps, my friend, if you could go get those chairs, and perhaps also some tea, so that we might be refreshed while we wait.
Okay. And thank you, We Are Nerdsmith, for the raid. Yay!
Hey!
What's up, nerds?
Right now, our resident immolator has managed to tempt some secondary guards into showing some more hospitality. So at this point, usually what is regularly done is one guard goes in, but the both of them are like, "Okay, you get the chairs, I'll go see if there's any tea to be had," and they both go in, leaving no one guarding.
Nice.
Shall we do it?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
That was really cool.
I told you, he's very impressive. Come to think of it, you all are. Oh, but I don't know you very well, Aubrey, sorry. But I'm sure you have many talents.
Perhaps we should hurry before they come back with our tea.
You see, Aubrey's like been undoing like a bangle from under her sleeves and pulling out like a little vial from it. Like she was prepared to do something in case this went terribly. And now she's like sticking it back into the bangle. Like, I deserve that one.
Remind me, what's Aubrey's class again?
Wizard.
Okay. That's terrifying.
Like she's basically a CDC style doctor, so she just keeps a bunch of medicinal shit. I just decided to flavor it as it's all in her bangles underneath her sleeves. She's got compartments everywhere.
Never trip. It would be bad.
Yes.
Hi.
So what are you doing as the
Going
guards
in.
have disappeared? You're
into the
following
tent.
after the guards?
No, I'm going in the tent.
Yeah, they went in the tent.
Isn't that what we're doing? Are we all doing that?
Yeah, but you'd be going literally right after the guards, which you can totally do. I'm just letting you know for
If
perspective.
it breaks bad, I'm very strong.
All
mean,
right. Are you
to,
all
to check with the table, do we want into this tent or not? Because like,
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
going in. I'm
okay,
following
how are
Efron.
you?
I'm following Sharmilla.
How are you entering the tent?
Quietly. Casually, actually, just very casually.
Flying casual.
Actually, as we're going in, because she's both running on very little sleep and paranoid as a result of this, is it possible to take a look around us and see like what's happening in the area? Like if anyone's watching us just casually go into the tent, because I feel like that's just the thing to be aware of, and she's paranoid enough she wants to be aware. If anyone's like noticing,
there's nobody around here except for all of you and the two not very attentive guards of the other two tents that are there.
Okay.
They don't really seem they kind of got their attention with the whole sort of, hey, I want to like the conversation that Sharmilla started, but then after the first like couple of moments they're like whatever, and they just continue to look at their own entrances. So you're mostly left alone.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you enter the tent, Sharmilla, defy danger either dex or charisma based on whether you're going casually or whether you're sneaking. And the similar for anyone else following.
Well, hang on. Like, which one do you want? Like, pick one of the two, because I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like,
you said you were going to stealth, and then you're like, no, I'm going to walk casually. So I was like,
well, I'm just gonna walk in the tent like I'm supposed to walk into like.
Okay, then charisma.
Okay. Cha. Boom! I rolled a
Okay.
Okay.
A 2 and a 1. Good gravy.
So I'm going to be, if I'm going to be just like, oh, Sharmilla's walking in, I guess we're all supposed to be walking in. Would that be charisma?
Yeah, like I'm
I
sort
just
of going
Actually,
with.
can I
Sure.
cut in here just real quick to ask what danger are we defying? That's what I'm a little unclear on. Like, what are we?
The guards basically turning around and saying, "What the fuck are you doing in here?"
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know any better.
I'm supposed to be here. Flap.
Yep. So for the most part, you all just march behind, like as if you were led in, and with that hypnotic, some of that hypnotic flame that you were doing hasn't quite worn off yet, and they're perfectly fine until, and as you enter, this is all what you see. You see what looks to be.
Our community grows.
Thank you, darling Gypsum, for the follow. Excuse me. You see, definitely this is like a TARDIS tent, similar to the healer tent, except this looks like a big lobby of some kind. Like, this is, and there's like multiple sort of panels going into, this looks like some sort of command tent. As you enter, just the immediate vibe you get is like, this is a command tent. Like a proper military command tent. And the guards are about to go through the next flap further in when they turn around, look at Sharmilla, and say, "Hey, you're supposed to wait outside."
Oh,
You're not supposed
I
to be
didn't
going
want to.
in.
Oh, yes. Sharmilla, you agreed to keep watch for them, of course. Remember?
I have a terrible memory, and I step back outside.
Yep.
And gonna wait and see if the guards go back behind that second flap and then pull Sharmilla back in.
Sure. You see they sort of like are satisfied with Sharmilla going back outside. Seem to not really notice the rest of you in, as odd as it is. And they one goes through the there's like sort of two flaps on the side and one sort of further in. So one goes off into one of the side flaps, and the other goes through into the main flap, and it sort of closes behind. You only get a gist of what looks to be like a war table of some kind, where there's like figures and everything before the flaps close. And Shermilla, I assume you sneak back in.
Wah!
They're gone now. It's okay.
Oh,
Also, this is
Nicely done.
totally giving me flashbacks to sneaking into a bar underage.
Not wrong.
Yeah, you see displayed on the walls of this place hunting trophies of animals you've never really seen. You see like a big sort of like antlered deer that is majestic. You see sort of the head mounted. You see this big fish that you know is not native to this area. You see what looks to be very decorative implements that show off status and power.
these are mounted on the wall?
On these tents. Like it's just sort of like
Okay, I was just like,
I'm imagining like a crossbar or something like.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I was just
Like
like,
they're hanging
how
off
on
of it.
earth? Okay, yeah, you had like a mounting device for it.
yeah.
For traveling, these people travel this ostentatiously. Good God! All right, let's case this place. Let's toss the joint. Let's look for disease stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say.
I am going to ask Syad. I'm going to command Syad to help me scout.
And
Or wait. Hold on, let me look for search. I'm going to ask Syad to help me search. Or command Syad to help me search.
okay.
So
Sayad will go searching. And what is Aubrey doing? Is Aubrey in here?
No, Aubrey's in here. Like when the guard things happen, she's just sort of like done like a sidle behind the taller people because she's 5 foot compared to like the 7 and 7.5 foot tall person. So she's relatively just small, thin, and like just in a like very nice like suit shirt, just like sidling along. But I'm imagining she was also going to. I was going to make an argument for discern realities too, but being logical, she's like looking for any sort of clues of anything. Like she knows how the like rough sense, like with everyone else, how the whole disease has progressed. If there's any materials to like disperse something, is there any sort of enchantment or magical based runes, glyphs, enchantments, anything of that sort that seems to be being used for something more malicious? And part of the reason for that was that I have this, which is really helpful, which she's strictly going just off of information rather than just what she sees. Like she's just trying to she's doing the like calculus meme image where she's just like doing one of those all in her head trying to figure it out.
What is Mother doing?
I think Madur is. I would like to use spout lore as I'm like kind of thinking aloud to myself under my breath about what I know about secondary like practices and like is this normal for these people? Like, does this indicate that they are a military unit? Are they a merchant unit? Sort of what is the what I know about their culture and how it relates to this particular group.
And Shermilla, you said you were gonna toss the joint.
Yeah, I'm just like looking for stuff.
And Ifran, similar?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So then my question is, as you are all performing all of these, and I will resolve them, depending, are you all going to the same place? Are you spreading out? In which case, who's going there? There's basically 3 places you can go that you see. One was where the guard went into, one of the side doors, and one was basically the one that the guard either of the guards didn't go into, and then there's sort of the more deeper chamber where Ifran got to see a whiff of like what looks to be a war table. So you're going there. Is anyone following you?
I'll go with
Wait.
Ifran to the war table.
Okay.
Sharmila.
So there was so there's 3 doors. You basically are saying. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
having a real hard time like conceptualizing this
Okay,
space.
so
But no. Just let me ask real quick, please.
Sure.
So there's basically 3 doors that
Yes.
one of them is what the guards went through, one of them is the one the guards didn't went through, and one of the ones is the one that Madur caught a whiff of a war table on. Those are the 3. Like,
you are
things.
mostly correct. What had happened is the guards didn't go in together. One guard went into the further in, so it's like right in front of you, like further. Say if you were facing north.
So wait, is that where the war table stuff
yes.
is? Okay.
Okay.
So one guard went there, one guard went through another door, and there's a door that a guard didn't go through.
Yes.
I'm going through that one.
The one which no guard went through.
Yes.
Okay. And who is following Sharmila into there? It's fine if the answer is nobody, because then I'm going to deal with each room separately. That's the way I'm dealing with it.
So lonely.
I can follow.
It's fine either way.
So the war table, I imagine, is Aubrey, Mother, and Ifran, correct?
Sure.
Sorry, Mother, did you mean to go somewhere else?
No, I was thinking about like combining a little bit of time in this room because it seems like there's some stuff like in this part of the
Okay.
tent. So like maybe I start here and then I come in like halfway through whatever they're doing in the other space.
Okay. So I'm actually going to deal with Yasmin and Sharmila first. So you enter and you see nothing but empty beds. There are 30 empty beds with little footlockers in front of them. This looks very much to be like a barracks of some kind, and there is stuff written on some sort of like a chalkboard in Sikandari. Or rather, you wouldn't know that if you are not if you can't read Sikandari.
Can I not? I have no idea.
That's the
Mm.
Yeah, this is an adaptation from 5e, so languages were a thing. You know what?
Let me put it this way: how common is literacy?
Fairly common. Usually at least to the region that they are from, and maybe another
Okay.
region in which they've lived. So
Then
unless
how
you
close
don't-
is this? I was saying, how close is this to where I live?
Secondaries are literally not in this particular subcontinent. They are far, far.
Then I
far
cannot read
western.
it.
Yep.
Asked and answered.
Yep.
All right. There's some crap scribbled on a chalkboard. Great.
Yep.
I'm Yasmin, I'm 19, and I never learned how to fucking read.
Yeah. like-
Okay. So you see some
Oops.
writings, which you imagine is at least secondary. I will say that much. You figure, well, it's a secondary tent, probably secondary. And that's what you see. For the rest of the three of you, you enter, and you see the guard is not in this room. There's like a couple of other flaps that lead to other places. This looks like a central room of some kind. And you see what looks to be a big, majestic oak table that is big. Like, you could easily sit 20 people for a dinner party sort of a thing. But instead, it's got what looks to be a map of this this region, as well as maybe some regions south, that are not part of the Bahari region, like it's sort of the borders. And you see what looks to be little figurines placed in certain locations. And you see what looks to be one small little tent with a very particular figure stuck there and a little flag, which seems to be this place has some importance. You see all around you various maps and things in some Bahari languages, which most of you would know or have picked up a little bit. And then there is a language that you all can easily assume is Sikandari.
So I'm not like fully brushed up on my Sarzameen like geography, but just to confirm, like for myself and maybe for anyone else in the audience. So like Pari is where we are as a country, right?
As a
And so
province, because
as a province.
countries are not really a concept here. It's more like regions
Okay.
and provinces.
But Secondary is like another province.
It's not a province. It's a completely foreign community to this area, like geographically. The
Okay.
way secondaries have been coming in is either through the passes, which are very, very difficult, very rare that actually happens. Most of the time they come in through sea in the south. Like,
Okay.
that's how
So
they trade.
do they like not have like a centralized home then? Are they like nomadic?
No, they are actually completely foreign, i.e. they are like, Europe.
Okay, so they do. Okay.
Okay.
You said they didn't have like a. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So it's like I was imagining like either they're another like ethnic group in the region.
No, they
or
are
so
not at
it's
all.
more like they're from another like a whole nother part of the world.
Yes.
Like it's less like India, Pakistan, like Myanmar, and more like India versus Spain or
Well,
Italy. Or
South Asia versus
that like
much more further west and north.
got it. Cool.
Not even part of the continent.
Got it.
And yeah, so unless you've actually been sort of a trader, which I will say probably for Madur, with your spout lore or like bardic, you might be able to pick up a couple of secondary things. But yeah, you're pretty sure everything here is either in Pahari, which you can definitely read, and it's like local maps or local stuff, or secondary. And I guess now I will start looking at all the roles that were there a while ago. Okay, so let's deal with Ifran's discern realities. You get to ask me 3 questions.
What should I be on the lookout for?
The documents over there seem like they might yield some information.
Okay. What here is not what it appears to be?
Definitely this tent. This is way too ostentatious for a merchant's tent. This is not a merchant's tent.
Mm-hmm. And what is about to happen?
You are in a military tent and it is close to sundown, which means merchants and diplomats might be returning home soon. As well as that tea.
I'm going to go look and grab the documents and either read them or pocket them, depending on the urgency of what happens next.
And Aubrey, you had also discern realities. You get to ask me 1 question.
Okay. What here is useful or valuable to me as someone investigating the disease?
You notice to a corner a smaller crate with small little vials of similar looking liquid. And
For those listening, Aubrey just absconded with one of those bottles.
Yes. And Mother, with your spout lore, I'm gonna say that is how you get to read some of the secondary and make it out. And as you sort of also go check in on your other friends, you see the chalkboard, and you're able. Some of the words over there are simple enough that you pick up words like, if you are dealing in the lower district, like when being in the lower district and you must be in contact with people, or you decide to spend the night in the entertainment district, please make sure you are inoculated against diseases. Which is near the table.
Got it. So I'm like taking it all in and like trying to remember, I think, what I knew. Like maybe I've probably dealt with a merchant at least once. Like, you're from out of the region, like we're importing whatever goods they happen to be specialized in. Like, and how did that, what was that word again? No, that's the word for fork.
Yeah.
Oh, sword. Oh, that's different. All right. So like picking
And
that up,
another
like
thing that you
mouthing the words aloud.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
another thing you pick is use your own blankets.
Okay. So like I'm piecing it together. I come in and like looking and seeing the two of them and like giving Ifran and Aubrey like eye signals, like not wanting to make a lot of noise, like points to that and like traces out a little bit with his finger and like turns to them and like tries to get in a little close and like very, very low voice. I think we may have found more than we bargained for here. It appears that these outsiders may be more connected to the disease than we initially thought. They are speaking of making sure that the others in their party are protected against disease. They are clearly aware that there is a sickness here. Their involvement in creating it or distributing it is unclear, but it is clear from the notes that are written here that they know the disease is here, that they are taking precautions to make sure it does not happen to them. And
what precautions?
They wish not to use their outsiders' blankets, and they have been inoculating their people. I am not a I heal with music and magic. I am of no biologist, so I cannot speak to the practice. But
You have me here.
it is whatever this is quite damning. Without other context.
Sayad tells Yasmin, "Hey, you told me to help you search. Well, I think the tea is done. I heard the tea whistle go off.
We gotta get out of here.
Except, is there any chance I could try to open one of those foot lockers? Because I'd love to at least search for
Yes.
something in this room.
Yes, you can.
Sick.
It is locked, so
Perfect.
how do you open
I have
it?
Bars,
I have
lock,
gates, bend, bars, lift, gates. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to I pull Moonsong off of my belt and kind of like wedge the. Or actually, how is it locked? Is it like an internal lock or like a lock on the outside?
It looks like a simple lock, like a simple padlock.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, then yeah, I jam the crossbar of my sword like in through the loop on the lock, and then I kick it real fucking hard. Let's see how this goes.
Yep.
Damn it!
Well,
That's
you
a
get
6.
experience.
Yay! I'd like to do a thing.
You make noise.
So I go, bam, on this thing and try to kick it open.
You kick it open. I'm gonna say, like after it takes it might put you in danger of being discovered, but you open it, and you see inside what looks to be a basic soldier's items of like a foot soldier. You see mementos, like from a loved one. You see letters. You see change of clothes, and you see a little coin pouch, like personal, whatever has been given.
Is there anything small with like a unit insignia on it, or some kind of like anything easily identifiable as this is an army and this emblem proves it? Like,
yeah, there's probably with the change of clothes, there's like the insignia already pinned to it, like they have like a change of clothes.
Rad. Rip. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, while Sharmilla's doing that, I'm pretty sure that Yasmin's skittered off to the next room to say, "The tea's done. We need to go."
Well, the idea that I look up, it's like, you're right, we gotta go. Shit.
Yep.
Well, while they're doing that, is it possible to like I'm imagining this is because this is like happening like simultaneously, like right
Yeah.
when Madara is like saying we might have gotten something like I am just a performer and like doing those things. And like that's why you have me here. Can I like try and cast the spell real quick on
Sure.
in the direction of that set of vials I just saw? Like I already grabbed one, but
Sure.
just as
You may
her
cast a
being
spell.
thorough. Okay. She is going to pull down one of the bangles from from beneath her sleeves. She is going to see if she remembers the correct vial. Nope, she does not.
Yeah, you're about to use the vial that was that you just picked up.
That's no, that's yak's milk. Shit.
I am going to grab the people in the room and say that noise is bad news for us. We need to go.
Okay. We'll
So-
investigate this another time.
Because it is entirely possible that would have startled them,
Yes.
True.
which would end my moth to the flame.
Yep. And
My bad.
as you all head out, you see. Do you just stay and wait, like pretend you never went in, or do you just book it?
I mean, I think we should run.
We should
but
probably leave.
That's me.
Power walk out the back.
Yeah, as you power walk out of the back, you get a quick glimpse of the crates that are there, and it looks like it has the sign of like a of like a very elaborate cross, and sort of you see just sort of written in Bahari and also in a similar lettering. You think they probably mean the same thing. Aid. As you leave.
Taking a mental snapshot of that.
Mm-hmm.
The insignia says aid, or what was the thing? that said aid?
The written word is aid, and it's like the insignia of what looks to be a pole with two snakes around it.
So it's medicine.
Like,
Yeah.
would I have?
You would
enough
not
to-
recognize it, as that's not a common symbol here. But
Mm.
out of game meta, it's a symbol of which, maybe
It's a
Mud-
caduceus staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a caduceus staff.
I was more curious, more just Aubrey's background, not even out of game knowledge, just her
Yeah.
particular training, whether she would recognize that, like whether that's a symbol that, like more to the point of like, does it seem like people are like aid, but it's like they're bullshitting, or is it like this is a symbol, but it's weird given all of this context for that to pop up here? That's more what I was curious about.
I will say that you think you're not sure. You just because it is foreign enough. Like this is the first time you're seeing it. You just know that because of the Pahari, it says aid, and because the lettering's kind of similar on the other side, it might mean the same thing in Secondary.
But if we're just like scooching, we don't have enough time to like
Yeah.
get in there and double check, right?
Yeah. And as you leave, you have a thought that actually doesn't look Secondary. That looks like some other,
Like a completely different language.
yeah. But you don't have time to figure out what the language is. Because the Secondary lettering is very different from this lettering.
More concerning.
It's fine.
And yeah. So as you scooch away, where are you scooching to?
Yasmin is just power walking straight
Literally
out in
anywhere
front of her.
else.
The
She
most-
could end up in
We
the
duck
lake.
into one of the other tents.
So you're gonna basically enter another tent for which you have no permission?
It's a
Okay,
bold
bad
choice.
idea.
I'm
I
just
thought they were
clarifying.
all-
You can totally
We-
do that. I'm just clarifying. Was that your intent?
Oh, I thought that the other ones were like little shops, and they just had.
They're not
little...
shops. They're essentially merchant camping tents. Like
Okay.
that's
Okay.
where, like, basically they don't want to camp in the market like all of you are, so they're camping further away for some peace
Okay.
and quiet.
For the
Never mind.
record, that's what I thought they were too. So you weren't
Yeah.
the only one. I totally thought that's
Sorry.
what they.
I should have made that more clear. These are sort of their resident camping tents.
Well,
Oh.
outside, that's what they look like to us, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the appearance given that we just went into one and it's like war room.
Yeah.
As far as we know, they all look like this, but internally they may be something different.
There's a
Joy.
lake nearby. We could just go to the lake. That's inconspicuous.
Shall we find a spot to perhaps have a drink and a bite to eat and discuss our findings?
Well, Murky's pretty close by.
I know a place
No.
where no one would ever think to find us.
I am not
also-
eating his food. It will kill me.
No,
As a medical professional, I can confirm that is absolutely true.
Thank you, Aubrey.
However, it is getting close to dusk by the time you had this investigation and figured everything out. And now the entertainment area and like the night vendors are starting to set up, so you can totally hang out over there. And with that, we will take a quick break ourselves and be back in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna make sure I have everything correctly and see y'all pretty soon.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you get a second during break, you should check out one of our amazing sponsors. We're now proudly sponsored by Roll20, the best virtual tabletop for all your role-playing needs. Over 4 million people use Roll20's virtual tabletop to power their favorite games. And with more modules than you can shake a stick at on their new revamped storefront, you'll definitely find something for your group to enjoy. Sign up today by clicking the link below or heading to roll20.net/start/WTTP. Tabletop Loot is an amazing place to get your dice bags, dice boxes, and more. And now you can get 15% off your purchase at tabletoploot.com by using the code WTTPDICE at checkout. Tabletop Loot. Your party starts here. While you're at it, check out our so awesome merch store, So Nerdware. So Nerdware is the place to find all your Welcome to the Party merch and other amazing stuff too. Head on over to sonerdware.com and use the code WELCOME at checkout to get 10% off your next purchase. So Nerdware. It's what the nerds wear. Devin Rue, the amazing mistress of maps, has kindly supported the channel since the beginning and provides graphics for many of our streams. Head on over to rueinc.com to check out some of the best fantasy cartography on the web. Our Patreon supports the creators and producers of the channel by providing Roll20 subscriptions, cost coverage for video hosting, and more. If you want to support the channel while getting podcasts a week early, gaming articles that are published on Patreon first, a shout out during our break, and more, head on over to patreon.com/welcomepartyrpg and throw us a buck or $5. And last, but certainly not least, help out the party. Subs and bits not only support the stream, but also every 500 bits or a tier 1 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a reroll or system equivalent, and every 1000 bits or tier 2 sub gives a player or DM of your choice a crit or system equivalent. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The game will be back in just a few minutes.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
welcome everybody. Hope you all had a good break, and we are returning from the intrepid party, power walking or booking it or hightailing it out of the secondary merchant tent that is not a merchant tent. Uh, you all gather together to collect your thoughts near the night market. Near the food vendors, near the entertainment district, which is by the docks. Which is, as a frame of reference, over here.
Sorry, can you ping that again? I was on a different window.
Yeah, here.
Gotcha.
And as you catch your breath and wonder what's going on, you notice that you were not followed, hopefully. And you do notice, as you're sort of waiting for the food to be prepared and you're collecting your thoughts, that the entertainment district is a lot quieter today than it was the previous night. There's less people around. There's a few food vendors also missing as well. There's enough that it's still open and that the Angur Kana lights are on, but you just notice there's less of a crowd today in general compared to previously. What do you do as you all gather?
Well, our wizard needs food badly.
Wizard needs food badly.
Yeah, so there's several vendors. I have a list of things. The one thing I actually prepped for was food, because that's the thing.
That's pretty on brand for you at this point, Mariam. Like, if you didn't have food, I would be very scared and wondering who you are.
So you notice there's a couple of vendors who have like the stew that's been sort of going away all day. You notice that there's basically strips of bread that are torn up and thrown in almost like a noodle soup with various greens added in. You see also that there are these something called chapshuro, which is these wheat bread that is sort of enriched with ghee, almost like a paratha, but they stuff it with ground yak meat that's been spiced and cooked ahead of time, and rolled, and then sort of shallow fried, and they're very filling. And you can get as well as sometimes they stuff in some local cheese as well, instead of yak meat, and you see sometimes there's a little more sort of sweeter. It's like walnut minced meat sort of a thing, like like how you would have fruit pies minced meat sort of a thing, but it's kind of like chunky. So that's sort of a filling that you can get as well, and it's served with a little bit of apricot oil and honey.
Well, I'm starving.
All of it. One of everything.
Like, my mouth is like starting to drool just a little bit, and I'm having to hold it in. But like in character, I imagine there's a moment of like, as we're passing by this, catching our breath, Aubrey's like starting to like go to another one of like her bangles underneath her sleeve, and like she opens up the compartment, and there's a bunch of like nuts and base rations, and then she like goes from looking at that to looking at the food to looking at that to looking at the food. She closes the compartment, and then she just walks up to each one, and then she just points and just like nods, like doesn't even say like full words after a certain point. It's just like,
and they notice your insignia, like your sort of clothes and everything, and actually refuse to take coin from you. They say you're doing a good deed.
it's
my wife's in there, and just gives you food, feeds you.
I will repay this some other time. Please do not make me worry about this at this. Thank you, oh Lord.
Aubrey, you have already paid that debt many times over with your assistance in curing this
I
disease.
don't like being in debt to people. It never ends well.
And you notice as all of you are sitting around and they notice you're with Aubrey, they also do not take payment from any of you and supply you with like tea and drinks and food. More than what you had ordered.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of people to pay back. Oh.
Please, you must accept the hospitality as it is given. You were more than gracious to do this for us.
Undeserved at this point.
Every fire must be fed so it does not go out. Eat.
You look really tired and hungry.
Frankly, you look like crap. Have food, and thank them for their hospitality, and accept it generously.
Stand by my statement that it is undeserved. I have not solved it. I have not gotten more information that is needed to figure out.
I find something small and round and throw it at you. Do not tell me that you are undeserving. I will not have it at this table.
You see, like, she's like combing, like she's doing one of these gestures as you see, like, out of nowhere from her bag a book that's much bigger. It's like about the size of like her shoulder down to about like her hip. She's pulled it out of nowhere, and she's just like combing through pages of what look like notes that you see the dates on it are from like over the past week. She's like, more dad. She's just like, she's like not noticing the food that she's grabbing. So there's probably something that like a utensil would probably be better to eat with. She's just getting it with her hand, even if it's like liquid.
I'm sorry, you're trying to like write and eat at the same time?
She is that neurotic. She's like trying to write while like using the other hand she's not writing with to eat, like near her notes. She's not paying attention.
Yeah, there's no utensils here beyond like bowls or plates. And the tea that is provided is already sort of like, you notice that the way they mix tea or add flavorings is by putting it between 2 cups and sort of like pour. And there is green tea with which you notice has cardamom in it, and you notice this sort of a pink tea, which is actually black tea, that they add a particular salt to it that turns the tea pink.
Drinking that.
Yeah, she
and
downs the entire
it is
cup.
like the sweet, salty, really kind of kicks you in the pants sort of a tea. The green tea, if any of you partake in it, is more sort of makes your tummy, like, it helps digest whatever all the heavy food and cuts that richness quite nicely.
I reckon that Ifron doesn't eat a whole lot, but eats, as much as he wants, and then is pushing food on Aubrey as she's writing things down, and anything that's left over he's going to pack up to take with.
She's at that point of like she's enjoying the food, but she's still trying to take down notes. So she's probably like done, like had the whole tea in one gulp, and then is just like using one hand that she isn't writing with and dumping food into the teacup so that she can down it through the teacup into her mouth directly. Like she's just like in that level of like notes, write things down.
Yasmin is like eating, but just kind of watching Aubrey and like in kind of awe.
Anything that's there in vegetarian, Jamila is definitely shoving into her face because it has been a long day.
Yep, the cheese ones, the walnut ones, definitely are quite rich and filling.
Yeah, and so that felt like an army.
It certainly appeared to be a barracks of some kind, did it not?
Yeah, and like I take out that emblem I found and like the patch or whatever and set it on the table. It's like that's who we're dealing with. This kind of feels like it's bigger than us now.
Yes, and from what I was able to glean from the notes that were available, my secondary is quite rusty, and my knowledge of their people limited. But it seems that they are aware of the disease enough that if they have troops here, they are informing their troops to inoculate themselves against disease and to only use the linens that they brought with them for sleeping.
The documents that I stole, are they in a language I can read, or are they in secondary?
They are in secondary, but now that you have time and you're not in any particular danger, you can spend some time trying to decipher and pick out what is going on.
So I say, Madhur, you understand their language?
After a fashion.
And I reach into my clothes and pull out the documents and pass them over.
A very lucky find, my friend. So I'll take a look and see if I can piece together whatever they've done and what notes they're taking. I suppose I am discerning realities?
Yes, you can. But I will say, rather than discerning realities, this is more about how much time you take to decipher them. The success or failure will determine how much time you chew up trying to decipher them.
Trying to piece it all together. Okay.
So if you're not sure which move to jump on, I will say, given the very specific nature of discern realities, you could always just call for like a defy danger intelligence if he's just trying to figure out a language.
Yeah, so I would say defy danger intelligence.
Yeah,
right.
I was basically okay, yeah, you can certainly aid.
Yeah.
Although I believe you all had +1s for previous rolls for seeing whether you are acting on information, which I think this would qualify. So you can just take a +1 because it is further investigating something you had already succeeded on prior.
Yeah, I'm just imagining Aubrey's just like opening up to another third of this giant book, like pulling out a fresh quill out of like the back section of her bangles. There's like 10 back here. They're just writing implements. Pulls out one from Madar and is like, and it's just like, not that one, not that one. Oh, I should change that one out. Not pink anymore. Not that one. Here, section of paper and everything. So 8 earned a beer.
Yeah, I'll take the 8.
Yeah.
I'll take cost on that.
You're feeling just very sleepy because the food and sort of actually taking a break.
Yeah, I in that case, I'll just treat that as, Sharmila, you are very kind, and I apologize for what is about to happen in this next moment. And then
Excuse me?
Just...
Friend, are you all right?
She's just sleeping. She's like snoring, like very loudly.
Oh, yes. And Sharmila immediately comes around the table to just start fuss of like pulling food and stuff away. You're tiny, right? Like I could just pick you up.
I'm like 5 foot max, maybe not even that. Like 4'10". Like I'm also really thin and lanky. Like
you're like my aunt.
I am a tiny elven woman.
And Aubrey. Yep. Well, fantastic, because I'm a big burly human, so I just scoop up Aubrey then and just like, I think our friend needs somewhere to rest.
And the food vendors just where it's like, oh, here. Here are these sacks of like flour. Just rest her here.
She's doing both, like with her leg, that the little dog kick, like when they're like kind of sleepy and getting disturbed, and like her hand is doing like some folks do like little movements in their sleep, like they're going through dreams. Hers look like she's still writing notes in a notebook.
Oh, honey.
Speaking of, did Aubrey take the notebook with her?
Oh, she left the notebook behind.
I totally want to read that.
Ooh.
And we'll get to that in a moment. Let us see what Mother's... So with Mother, your check, you actually piece it together now that you are not in this danger of being discovered and sort of the adrenaline kicking in. Your brain sort of Um, you, the information you get, again, your secondary is not perfect, but what you get is that some of these notes are definitely diplomatic notes, and it looks like they're looking to purchase uh, they're looking to purchase a very good, like they're looking to purchase two plots of lands in the upper and lower district, which seem to coincide with where the Gulbahar and the Angur Khana is.
Ah.
And
Okay.
there's sort of notes on how the prince's likes and dislikes are, as almost like sort of like a profile on the prince. As a diplomatic, okay, this is how you should deal with the prince when discussing these issues. And those are sort of the papers you managed to grab.
Okay. Very, very interesting. So I think like the tea and the calories are definitely helping the process. So Madur's like looking through the papers and like cross-referencing like this and this word. Yes. Okay. Well, it's a shame about Aubrey, but perhaps we should let her sleep. I would like to have her input on this as well. It seems to me that these notes speak to a great deal of understanding that our outsiders here have over the local community. They appear to be looking to purchase land, which happens to be, interestingly enough, corresponding to the locations of the Gulbahar and Angur Khana
and plans
territory.
to open sort of like an entertainment hall.
Of their own?
Yeah, like basically take them over.
It appears that they wish to assert their own control and install their own interests on these locations. In addition, they seem to be to have had extensive time, or someone in their community has had extensive time to study the prince and the prince's personality when it comes to negotiations. What topics are to be avoided and which buttons are to be pressed. It is all very unusual, but if we had been wondering if this were all a red herring with regard to the two houses, it seems that the connection may be stronger than we had imagined.
But nothing about the disease.
Of the notes that we recovered, that Ifran was able to find, it seems they are doing a good job keeping their hands clean. It is possible that they have written out information about the disease itself, but we were not able to find it. I am still concerned as well about the crates that were supposedly a form of aid. I should like very much to see what is inside those, if it is in fact medicine, and if not, perhaps that is the source of the disease.
Quick out of character note, because Aubrey took something from the tent.
Oh, it took a vial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like about a small little container with about like 12 or 14 similar vials of liquid. Like they were all identical, so if you picked one, it was the same.
But this is different from the other stuff then.
Yeah, those look like they were big enough to like either hold food or clothes or something. You didn't have time as you ran away, but those are like big crates, like about like
It's clarifying in my brain that like that's the wholly separate thing. So whatever we got from that is good. All right, well, I would very much like to know what is in that vial Aubrey found. but like I like look down. But she needs to rest.
Yes.
What was that?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Shh,
But-
it's fine. It's fine. You're good. You're good.
But
Hush.
the temple needs me.
I just put my like hand like on her forehead, just shh.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
At this
see.
point, a little kid sort of walks right up to Madur and says, "Are you Madur?"
Yes, small one. What can I do for you?
So, Faraz sent a message that, to said to give to you and said another one happened. Please come when you can.
Oh my. Well, thank you for doing this. Are you hungry? And I offer a little food.
And we'll wolf it down. You're surprised at how something so small could eat so much.
No, not at all. I just watched Aubrey do it.
And sort of like with their like chipmunk cheeks like stuff and just runs off.
Well, as much as I had wished we could have a moment of rest, it appears that another person has been injured in a manner similar to the dancer that we aided earlier.
More importantly, though, you're famous with children. They know who you are. Word
Well,
is finally spreading, Madur.
when they're
Clap you on the
paid.
back.
You're also one of the very rare
Details.
elephant folk around here too.
That's
so
true.
It was easy to spot.
Yes, Ifran, I'm unsure if you were aware of how much local politics you've heard of, but there two dancers from both the Gulbahar and Angorkana have been attacked, each claiming that someone from the other house was the perpetrator. The attacks have been identical in all ways, as far as we can tell, and so given the circumstances, we have been suspecting a third party. Now that we know what we know of the secondary, it is possible. I have no proof, but I theorize that they are sending their thugs to enact these crimes to create tension and capitalize upon it.
This seems a reasonable suspicion and is perhaps worth letting the two houses know about.
Yes, we have been called by one of our associates that we had been speaking with in the Gulbahar that there is another attack, and so if we are prepared to take a trip, perhaps letting Aubrey get a little rest, I would suggest that we travel to the house as soon as we can.
Just okay.
And
If you try and take the claw out of her hand, she just fusses to try and get it while sleeping.
No. I got it.
I don't have like a blanket. Do I have like a cloak or something I could just sort of
yeah,
throw
as
over
part
her?
of your adventures,
Just wrap her in it like a burrito.
Basically, yes.
a burrito.
It's a burrito. Jokes. We got jokes, folks.
Sure to follow and subscribe for more high
Even
quality
making
content.
gestures. She's still trying to write, but she can't actually move her hand anymore.
Swaddled. So you carry
worried
your
about your
burrito with you?
Yeah, like I'm gonna let her sleep until we need her back in action. So like,
Yeah, it takes you about an hour, sort of circumnavigating the lake, to get to the Gulbahar, where, you notice that unlike the Angurkana, where it seems to be a little subdued and not as many crowds, it's still swinging. It's still full crowds. Although you notice as you get close that all the guards over there are on edge and very dense and sort of looking at everyone. You see a familiar guard Faraz, and he smiles at you, Mother, and says, "Ah, you're here. You got my message.
Yes, we came as soon as we could.
Who are your two new friends, and why are they..."
Apologies. This is Ifran, and our sleeping comrade is Aubrey. She is one of the
Has she been injured?
mendicants.
No, she just needs rest.
Really
She's
sleepy.
very tired.
Okay. Well, anyways, what you need is not necessarily in the actual Gulbahar. Why don't you just follow me? And sort of takes you behind to where all the courtesan rooms are, like their actual living quarters, not entertaining quarters. And as you're walking and talking, Faraz says, "Well, we thought it was like one and done, but this morning, as everybody was wrapping up for the day, we hadn't heard from Ragini. She was giving a house call, and we thought maybe she was just, extending her service. And then by like late afternoon, when we hadn't heard for her, we went to go look for her, and we found her in the back alley with her legs broken."
Goodness, it is a terrible.
So close to the house. That's bold.
Yeah, that's really...
Tell me, Faraz, and please, by all means, I understand that professional confidentiality is quite important to you. Is it possible that we would be able to see who had commissioned the visit?
I mean, it's no secret. She was a regular patron, and oh gosh, names.
We can loop around to that if you need.
Yeah,
That's fine.
But they were the person who
her patron said she had no idea. Like, she thought she was sick and didn't show up, so she wasn't even there. God knows how long she was lying there. She still hasn't woken up. I mean, she's not dead or anything, just she's very injured.
I see.
We haven't had
So
a chance
she's
to talk to
never-
her yet.
Very well. May we see her?
The patron? Or
Oh,
Ragini?
sorry. May we see Ragini was the name?
Yeah, Ragini.
May we see Ragini?
Yeah, follow me, and takes you again and sort of knocks on the door just to see if she's woken or response. There's no response. Faraz quickly goes in. About
As soon as he goes through that door, I'm gonna Madur, shouldn't we tell them about the other attacks? Or their attack, singular.
Yes, perhaps it is best that we exchange information. Given previously, I confess I would have been nervous to do so, but given that it seems there is an outsider attempting to sow discord among these houses, it is wise. Yes. Faraz, a moment before we...
Yes. I was about to send a couple of our bouncers to tell the Angur Khana what's what. I mean, they've gotten too bold. I just thought I'd let you know before I go deal with them. They must answer for what they've done.
And my friend, I understand that tensions are high and your blood is hot. I too have been wronged in the past and know how strongly you wish to see justice done. But I fear that you may be sending your people to deliver justice to the wrong people. We have been investigating this matter, and we suspect that you are being played as an attack of this identical nature happened to one of the performers at the Unger Khana, claiming it is those of the Gulbahar. And so you and I know that you would not lie to me about this sort of thing.
We don't even go down there like that. We would never stoop ourselves so low to go to the Unger Khana. So we definitely did not do that.
And would they be so foolish as to mess with you?
Well, clearly they have, and we're gonna make them pay.
Except that they haven't. Don't be foolish. This is bigger than your houses, guilds.
If 3 people now have been attacked in identical ways.
Wait, 3? Who's the third?
The 2 performers here and one from the Unger Khana, who was attacked in exactly the same manner, and we were told they were attacked by someone claiming to be from Gulbahar. Do you not see? Lightning does not strike more than once in the same place.
Unless you're Damini, because she's just lightning moves. But sorry. Sorry, that was me making a really poor.
Just keep going. You're good.
Yeah.
I was in it.
You're good. You're good.
Yep.
Stick with it.
But then if it is not the Unger Khana, taking their vengeance on my mistress, then who is?
And I look at everyone like, should we?
Sharmilla is very obviously nodding her head.
Yeah.
There's no subtlety to it.
My friend Faraz, we believe that the secondary that have recently been traveling in this region mean to take over your business, both of your businesses, by force. Their methods are cunning and wily, in that we believe that they are attempting to create a discord between the 2 of you, so that they can convince the prince that they should be able to purchase land, that your land, and replace it with their own entertainment houses.
Why would the secondary want? As far as I know, the secondary are here to develop trade deals.
Yes, well, they are liars.
The trade deal would be trade with their entertainment house, we believe.
They're our
the
biggest
why
patrons.
is unclear.
They're probably just casing the joint. They're finding your weaknesses. They're finding your dancers. They're finding when they're vulnerable, and they are striking at them when they cannot defend themselves.
At this point, we're not asking that you believe us that they're behind it, only that you pause before placing blame elsewhere.
This is for your benefit.
Okay, perhaps we can. We're short. We need to make sure the rest of the dancers are taken care of. I suppose it would. And as far as I can hear, whatever plague is going down there will take care of the Unger Khana anyway. So perhaps they'll get what they deserve.
Oh, Ifron's eyes turn fiery and his hair goes poof at that.
Like Hades?
Like Hades and Hercules, 10,000%.
I think that actually wakes Aubrey up.
Oh, yeah.
My friend, all opinions aside, please permit us a day or two to settle the matter. And if it happens that we have not been truthful with you, and that it is in fact the Unger Khana that have committed these crimes, then by all means, we will go with you to see that justice is done. But if on the chance that it is not, we simply ask for your trust.
Also, have you seen anyone with the plague? Do you know what it even does to you?
No.
I wouldn't wish sickness on anyone.
No, but I hear that they're throwing everyone in to the chawl. And well, if they're in the chawl, they couldn't possibly be harming any of our dancers or taking business away from us. Not that we need the lower district business anyhow.
It doesn't matter if you need their business or not. Everybody there should be in their own homes.
Well, most of them are already in their homes.
You are a terrible person. How do you sleep at night?
Soundly. And he looks at all of you and says, well, if we're not... Ragini
Yes.
has been stirring. Do you want to speak to her or not?
We would be in your debt if we were able to speak with Ragini and shine further light on the matter.
And he just wordlessly, especially sort of giving some real side-eye to Yasmin, sort of just opens the door and lets you in. And just sort of waits outside.
I will go in last and make myself very imposing in his face, but not say anything. I want to give side eye to my friends. You're going to catch a whole lot of all eye from me.
As we're walking into the room, just right after Sharmila, I just turn to him and I say, "You do know that I work in that district over there, right? That I've worked close and seen the plague up close and all of its dangers, correct?"
You're saying you were talking
I'm saying
to
this
Faraz?
to that person.
So Faraz says, "Of course, sister," and you know that the word "sister" is used sort of like as a like a healer sort of a prefix sort of a term. I do not know which district you come from. I know there are healers up here, there are healers down there, and I know that your job is to make people well.
My job is to find out information. Helping people comes from having the right amount of information. That means people from up here and people from down there. If you would like this whole situation to not boil over and screw you tremendously over, I would suggest you hold your tongue. Otherwise, and I just pull out another vial from one of the bangles, this may drop somewhere you don't want it to be. And just toss it at him.
What, you toss it?
Yeah, I toss it at him. It's yak's milk.
And he sort of grabs it and sort of looks at it. Is this yak's milk?
No. It's wilderness pox.
I grab Aubrey and shut the door.
Yeah, no, I walked in after that.
Okay, good. Then I just shut the door behind Aubrey.
All right, so in
Done
the
with this
room,
guy.
Ifron is still fuming, but he turns to you all and says, "It's enough to want to burn the smaller cinders, but maybe we should wait and see who is setting this place."
How Ragini is.
I want to set his bed on fire.
We can still do that.
I'd like that.
I have not heard any of this conversation. I do not.
I can say it louder.
No, it's maybe we should see to the injured.
Yeah.
and
courtesan.
Very similar sort of a room setting, and for the benefit of the newer players, it's a very small room. It's just enough to hold a single bed for one person. Slightly a little more spacious. There's like a side table, and there's a chest of drawers with a mirror and pots, and this is clearly just a place where someone just crashes at the end of the day and sleeps. In the bed, you see, similar to the first answer, a very weak. Her face has one black eye, and her legs are sort of in an awkward angle in the bed. Again, similar to the previous one, it was clearly, oh, kitty. It was clearly meant to be a direct hit to her profession, like in terms of like if she can't dance if her legs are broken, that sort of stuff.
Yes. No, I get it.
And she's quiet. She's restless. She's not awake and lucid, but very restless and stirring.
She doesn't seem very talkative.
I would not be either, given the circumstances.
Aubrey, is there anything you can do here?
Potentially. Aubrey will approach Ragini.
All right. What do you do as you see Ragini? It seems like she does not quite have the fortitude to awaken, as she still seems to be suffering from some stress, but and she's definitely in pain. You can sense that right off the top. And it seems like she is trying to essentially, her body is trying to have her sleep it off to sort of heal naturally.
Before I go forward with anything else, do I notice any spotting or anything of that sort from previous cases on her?
She looks absolutely healthy, beyond the broken legs.
Okay. If she's sleeping, she'll pull back her sleeves entirely, and you'll see that she has like a cup, like just a very specific, like smaller but different shaped vial that she keeps closer to, like one closer to the shoulder and one closer to the heart, and she puts like a little bit of a balm on her hand and just like tries to just very carefully reach out and just like pat her head, and mechanically offering to try and use a health potion on her if that's in any way possible, but just flavor's sake, she's just putting the balm.
Yeah, the health potion will basically wake her up and will act as if what the basic health potion is. You see her stir, and she wakes up, her eyes bright but still exhausted, and she looks up and she says, "Who are you? Why? How did I get here?"
We're friends, of a sort.
I'm Yasmin.
And she looks at her like, she looks down, she looks at her legs, and she's like, "What happened to my legs?"
We were hoping you would be able to tell us that. It seems as though you have been attacked.
I don't remember much. All I remember was my patron had called, and even though Begum Jan and Faraz had said that I should be careful because of what happened to Nergis, I took some precautions, but as I was turning around into the alley where it was just like my patron's house was just one or two buildings away, suddenly a bag went over my head and I was grabbed, and I don't remember much, but as I woke up, I remember seeing their sleeves. It looked like the Angur Khana.
It's the same as before.
And I overheard one thing, though. I overheard them saying that they need to make sure to go around to the other house this evening.
Okay. We need to go. Immediately.
Ragini, I have performed a service to one of your two Nurkas. Would you permit me to attempt to soothe the pain in your legs?
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
May I aid Maturu in that process?
Yeah, I would love that.
Yes. You can certainly roll an aid. how do you aid?
And would it help to first know what Madora is? Oh no, you've watched this episode, so you know what Madora does.
Yeah, I know it's sort of a performance in the song and such. And okay.
Actually, while you're thinking of it, why don't you roll your arcane arts?
Yeah, let's see what happens there.
Holy.
Your
Jesus.
luck, Mother, has been pretty
on this
baller.
Goddamn,
Honestly, I'm
whole
impressed.
campaign.
Yes.
Like because I watched all these other episodes. You rolled like a 11, a 12, a 10, and an 11. Like the other times you've done.
The
this
dice
kind
are with me.
Oh, you also have a charisma of +3. Holy cannoli.
Yeah, I dumped all my stat improvements into it.
Same
Like,
unintelligent.
if this is my shtick, I'd better be good at it.
All right, so how do you aid Mother, and Mother, how do you go about helping Ragini?
As just quick check-in reminder, Madura, it's song sort of, or it's storytelling more? How would you describe it more?
I've been doing song. It says it's a performance, but I've been playing like a big flute, and weaving in, like, pulling in the ambient magical energy, the elements that are around into part of the song.
Yeah. Okay, I have my idea, because I also want to do cost again. Do this.
Yep. Don't actually pick that. The GM does.
Oh shit! Sorry, I didn't. That was my bad. I thought it was.
I was gonna say that your cost.
It only matters.
Oh, sorry.
It
only matters if he blows his roll. You didn't blow.
Yeah.
So Mador didn't blow the roll, so you're actually fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I know how these rules work.
Yeah. I was anyways gonna say that you realize as you had a nap but not enough nap that you were going to feel super sleepy, but with the adrenaline off, there's more things at stake, you sort of stay up, you stay awake.
Yeah, and the way that I was imagining the help being, she's very skittish about doing this. Probably Ifran, even if we're not like super close friends, probably knows this too. She probably starts singing to like begin the performance. And like I imagine it's sort of like a song, like when you have like jam session circles where someone like you sing a folk song that has a very familiar verse and then the refrain that everyone knows, and then once one cycle of that goes, just sort of like leads it into Mudhurst's sort of like way of like taking off the rest of the story. Like I imagine it's like it starts with like telling the tale of a beautiful river that, while blocked up and stopped, will slowly flow with time, effort, and care with those around it, like removing the blockage.
Yeah, so then based on that, Madura is like listening to Aubrey and like starts playing like a low lilting melody, and is trying to harmonize with what Aubrey is singing, and taking like pulling the ambient water from like the potion and the oil that Aubrey's been applying, and like trying to increase the flow of it through Ragini's body. Like this is now like seeping into your bloodstream more, and then like looks over at Ifran and like tries to draw some of the ambient like flame that he feels from Ifran's like person, and like uses that ambient energy to boost, and like pulls like a little string of flame like from Ifran's like fire hair, that like weaves into the legs, and like causes them to glow a little bit, and then finally weaves in the breath that everyone is sharing. And so like everyone like takes a deep breath and exhales, and that ambient air like suffuses into Ragini's body, and like she gets like a little like lifts off the bed for like a half second, like just an inch, and then like settles back down with this magical glow, and then finishes out the song. And now I took Healing Song as my advancement. So I roll 2d8 when I do Arcane Art. So she gets healed for whatever 9 HP is worth.
Yeah. And considering you got to it a lot sooner than the previous one, you actually feel her by the end of it. Ragini's feet are slightly tapping with you. It's sort of like very stiff movements, but it's also tapping with you.
Ugh. Bless.
And she says, "Thank you so much. I hope you're able. Don't mind Faraz. Faraz is just really upset that I got injured, and is finding anyone else to blame."
Faraz cannot blame you for something that was done to you by someone else. We will do what we can to see that justice is delivered. But I promise you, what happened to you will not happen to anyone else. We will make sure of it.
Speaking of, time is short. We
must go.
Can't linger.
And
I'll be back another time in case you require more treatment. I can promise you this.
And she thanks all of you. And for
Are you muted?
us,
Did everyone
muted?
Yeah.
no,
That was weird.
Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Like you
Now we can.
for a second.
Okay, I might have been talking
I
very.
legit- I thought my computer was malfunctioning for a second.
I think I was talking
something
really
went wrong.
faintly.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
honestly couldn't tell if your lips were moving and could not get any sound. So it was like,
Yeah, I was like,
"What?"
did my headphones drop out? And then I saw everybody else looking confused too. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not just me.
Okay, so she thanks all of you, and at this point, Faraz sort of wanders in. I was like, "Are you done?"
Yes, I shoulder check past him and leave.
A 1,000 pardons, Faraz. We have business elsewhere. We will
Okay.
return if we learn anything else.
No pardons. You're a jerk. She's cool. We're going.
And sort of gives you this bewildered whatever look as you all just stroll past, and goes in to check on Ragini, and you sort of hear like sort of a sigh of relief coming from Faraz as you all leave. So I imagine you are heading somewhere else at this moment.
Power walking.
We're gonna
All
rush
of
to
us
the
are power
Arcana,
walking
yeah.
now.
Okay.
Power walking, nothing. I'll start running. I mean, if people can keep up.
Yeah, as you head to the Angurkana, you notice that at this point, by the time you make it there, it's definitely everything's under swing. There's less of a crowd, but there's still a crowd. Where do you go in the Angurkana?
there an open flame like around the front of the building?
Yeah, there would be like a sort of like lit bonfires, and there is some arcane lighting, like very minor cantrip arcane lighting sort of a thing. The equivalent of low lighting, electric lighting sort of a amount of, yeah, so yes, there is.
I'd like to go over to the bonfire and try Lure of Flame.
Okay.
Mm.
What does that do?
Why are all the immolator moves so cool sounding?
They're so
That's why I picked this class.
my favorite book.
Literally too good for, like, too cool for the book. Like,
So what does Lure of the Flame do?
So when you stare into the source of flame looking for answers, roll plus wisdom. On a hit, the GM will tell you something new and interesting about the current situation.
Okay, roll me your check.
Cool. 7.
All right.
So
let me
general
read.
impression.
Okay. As you sort of stare into the flame and almost in a way commune with nearby flames, you get this image of various little sort of trysts happening in various little alleys. However, there's one that catches your attention that does look more than the norm. It seems there are 3 people following someone. And it doesn't look like a tryst so much as stalking.
Do I know where it is?
It is about 3, like, you with the flame of the fire, you can certainly sort of sense it's maybe about 3 or 4 blocks away from you. And you can get the general location, the general idea, but you will need to sort of look quickly.
Okay. So there are three people following someone in an alley. It's 3 or 4 blocks away. We must hurry and just like take off running through back alleys kind of as quick as I can.
I'm going to send Sayad up in the air and have him scout ahead.
Okay. So I will say for you, Yasmin, you will get a +1 forward because Sayad's helping you. And you may do a... I guess it would be a defy danger wisdom.
Your wisdom, and it's +1?
Yes. As you sort of take off.
Oh.
Well, you get experience. You start getting lost in the alleyways as Sayad gets basically clotheslined by a clothesline.
Oh no.
Aw.
Bird.
Not
bird
hurt,
friend.
not hurt physically, but ego.
Bird friend, no.
And you hear squawking as like this roll of cloth sort of falls down towards you.
Buddy.
And you hear a couple of like angry barks from like the top parts of the houses as like, "Hey! What are you doing with my clothes?" What is everyone else doing?
Okay. Based off of having like lived around here and such, so more mechanics question. Based off the impression Ifran that he got, he didn't get like obviously like a GPS point, but did he get like a rough like?
Oh yeah,
like some details,
like a landmark. Did Franny see any landmarks?
Yeah, that's
yes.
the question. Thank you, Fox.
It was
I got you.
It was the landmark of what looks to be 3 or 4 like a group of like buildings that would be considered like a residential area in the entertainment district. And the one thing that was that stood out was definitely the lack of clotheslines.
Okay, from that, could I build off of my general like knowledge with having lived around here to try and spout lore and figure out more accurately which direction to take the rest of the group?
Yeah.
That is in fact a perfect use of spout lore.
Yes.
That is exactly what that move is for.
Please roll better. Please roll better.
Hey.
How's a 13 strike?
How you
There
doing?
it is.
Yeah. So you realize from Yasmin sort of running with Sayad and getting lost in one area. No, not that one. And you what do you do with that knowledge?
I'm like, wait, Ifran, you said no. You did no clotheslines. Collection of 3-4 buildings, right?
Correct.
Wait, they're not over here. The clotheslines. No, they can't be in that direction. They have to.
Master Aubrey.
They have to.
Aubrey, where?
She's like running. I imagine she's doing all this while we're all running like Scooby Doo esque around like the blocks, and she's like, that way, that way, that way.
And as you turn the corner, and I imagine you shout out to Yasmin, and Yasmin you trail behind, you see your quarry. And that is where we will end today.
Oh.
Yep.
And before we end the stream as a whole, let's take care of some end of session stuff. So we'll start off with individual player stuff. First of all, let me find my notes. Where are my notes? Here it is. For each of the individual players, did any of you touch upon your alignment or fulfilled your alignment at least once this session?
So much.
Nope.
No.
Upon, not sure it's fulfilled.
What is your alignment?
A neutral exchange of sacrifice freely given for a service rendered.
Well.
So taking the metal from Aubrey in exchange for
Oh.
leaving them somewhere to get more information.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Would
Yeah.
breaking into that tent count as endangering yourself to combat an unnatural threat?
Actually,
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
I
say
would
so.
count that.
Okay, then whoever fulfilled that, mark 1 XP. Then this is again individual players. Did you resolve any of your bonds this session?
Sharmilla, have I impressed you yet?
you did talk to birds, but you do that all the time is the thing. I expect you to talk to birds is the thing. So like, not really.
Okay.
What's the actual what's the text of your bond with me?
I am constantly trying to impress Sharmilla.
Oh man.
Well,
That's the
isn't
thing. Okay, so here's where it gets tricky because she expects it from you, but it's also very impressive to her that you can literally talk to animals.
Well-
So in that sense, arguably you have. She's just a very easily, well, I shouldn't say easily impressed woman. You're literally the only person who can talk to animals. So
I think the other thing to consider is that this is
Actually-
how you feel about it and whether you feel you've resolved it, because it is your
Well, yeah,
opinion of
it's
that
also-
person.
It is, but it's also bonds are something that you usually sort of suss out with the other person a bit.
Yeah, I
which I will
suppose.
say, more to the point, have I ever actually seen you talk to an animal before? Because ow, I hit my hand on the desk. Because we're relatively new to have we kind of just met each other. Have I ever seen you do this before?
You might have seen me talk to Syad, but you might not have
Didn't really
known
think
that I
it-
get really good information from animals sometimes.
Yeah, and it's one thing for you to talk to your like familiar. It's another thing like, yeah, I found some random ducks and we had a conversation. So in that sense, actually, yeah, you kind of have.
Also, you found
definitely
that
impression.
ducks have names and a culture and everything.
So the implications of that are, whoa.
So yes, if you feel that is, then mark an XP off.
And write a new bond.
And write a new bond.
You did say it was really cool, so I do feel like I impressed you a little.
Oh yeah, no,
And
yeah, for sure.
if you can't think of something right this moment, that's fine. You have between now and next session to come up with a new bond. Anybody else who felt that any of their bonds have been resolved?
I think the current one with Ephron might have been. I forget if I actually wrote one in. The one I just thought of right now that I'm thinking about it, that might have been before, was I need to help Ephron in order to get more information on the plague. It's a super oddly specific one, but it's kind of resolved at this point. I
Well,
don't
what
know.
would you? How has it changed? Would be the better
that's a good
question.
point.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll
We'll think that
sit
one
on
over.
that.
Yeah.
And
That's a
if,
tricky
You're kind
if-
of in progress on helping a friend.
Yeah,
is the
I
thing.
think that's why I'm like, never mind. I don't think it's resolved just yet. Close. But
I
not
think
yet.
I've resolved mine with Yasmin, which is that Yasmin is often the butt of my jokes.
Yeah, that doesn't feel appropriate anymore.
I'm
honestly,
not dunking on Yasmin anymore.
All right. So you get 1 XP and you write a new bond.
I'll write a new one there.
Okay. Anyone else?
nope. All of mine
Alright.
stayed the same.
Okay, now these are group, so if it applies, then all of you get 1 XP. Did you learn something new and important about the world?
Ducks have
Okay.
culture.
All right, all of you get 1 XP for that. Then the second question, did you overcome a notable monster or enemy?
Not really.
Not yet. No.
Those guards are
Maybe.
not notable. If those guards
Yeah.
were notable, the
No.
eliminator move would not have worked on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even have names.
They're
Yeah, like,
literally weak-minded.
This
Yes.
is very much Obi-Wan
Obstacle.
Kenobi, and these are not the droids you're looking for.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
they must.
Overcame an obstacle, but not a notable person.
The poor dudes probably came out with chairs and tea and like, oh, where did they all go?
I was gonna make espresso.
Oh, yum.
And then the last group question: did you loot a memorable treasure?
Well, is the treasure the friends we made along the way?
No, we did. We got the vial and
You
the
got the
documents
vial
and
and the
everything. We actually did.
documents.
We
Yeah,
actually
and
include a lot of
the
stuff.
emblem. And the emblem.
That's a really good point,
And
actually.
friendship.
Yes. So yes.
You may be sassing, but we did actually accomplish that one.
No, yeah, we got some stuff.
So you get 1 XP for that as well. And then I'm just gonna say it as my little thing that if you have enough to level between now and next game, you get to level.
Woo!
Because it's hard to do it mid-game, so yeah. And with that, I think we will go around the table and do our outros, just say who you are and where we can find you, and we'll go the other way around. So, Ulfrig, where can we find you?
I rolled an extraordinarily high stealth roll, so you actually can't find me very often, but you can find me here again next week. And on the 30th, I'll be doing a one-shot for Welcome to the Party. Other than that, you're just going to have to keep your eyes open.
Awesome. And Angela. Also, by the way, who created the wonderful theme music that you heard at the start of this game and during the break.
It's so weird coming to I watched those 2 episodes over and I was just like, oh, this is nice music. Oh yeah, it's mine. Oh,
You do good work.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's so
By the way.
weird listening to that. Thank you. You can find me in a lot of places at WTTP. I'm here on Fridays for Let Sleeping Angels Lie D&D 5e campaign. I'm here on Sundays for Emissaries of Avithna, which is just awesome. And we also play in Dungeon World. And we've had Major Feels. Tune in for more of those feelings. It's a lot. Saturdays, I DM a game in which I too, like Miriam, get to understand the gravity of the situation, which in my instance, I created a new subspecies of griffins who breathe cold and
Our
lightning.
Bokeh babies!
That was such a weird character decision from all of you, and I love you for it. But yeah, you can find me there, Philosophem, for Patreon for my poetry, which I promise will get started up again. It's been a while, and on Art for Ourselves as a writer and as one half of Queerly Yours podcast. And as Marion pointed out, I do music themes and commissions for folks. So if you want to pay someone to make a theme, whether it's short or long, get at me.
All right, and Simon.
Hello, I'm Simon. You can find me on Twitter at Lucha Libris. If you are in the New England area and you're interested in 1920s deco punk and LARPing, you can check out my game where you run Magic Hooch that gives you superpowers in a time of prohibition. We are basically full up on all players for our finale event, which is on October 4th through the 6th, but we would love to have NPCs if you are in the Massachusetts area. You can find no more about that at attawaylarp.com. And I'm also a contributing voice actor on the Penumbra podcast. It's an extremely queer sci-fi and fantasy podcast. You can look at them up at the Penumbra Pod. At the Penumbra Pod on Twitter, and I believe it's thepenumbrapodcast.com.
Awesome. And Lauren.
Hi, I am Lauren. You can find me on Twitter at Sithwitch. And you can find everywhere I'm at professionally, all the stuff I do professionally, at my website, lwsalinas.com. And I hang around here sometimes in Discord, although not lately because I have a project that I'm overdue on.
And last but not least, Fox.
Hey folks, I remain Fox Barrett at Fox Barrett, Fox_Barrett on the Twitters, where I'm slowly pushing my shit back into a shape where it's together. We're working on it, folks. Life is a process. What the hell am I doing? So, let's start with Saturdays. So, Saturdays, 7 o'clock Eastern time, right here on the channel. Hopefully we're finally getting started. It's been one thing after another keeping us from this game, but I would really like this weekend to finally start our actual first really session of Stars Asunder, our Scum and Villainy campaign. We're going to go, Mariam's in that, and we are going to go be bastards in space, because I love sci-fi, and we need more sci-fi on the channel, quite frankly. On Sunday nights, first at 8 Eastern, I'm over on twitch.tv/DevilsLuckGaming to play Shadowrun. It's an incredible game. We do brain surgery a lot, and It's kind of a weird game. We lasered a wiener inside somebody's head. Like, we just drew a dick. We drew a dick on someone's skull, y'all. It's a weird game. But speaking of weird, directly after that, midnight, here on the channel, Sundays, Eastern Standard Time, Emissaries of Ithna, which you already heard about from Angela. And it's great that she's there because, boy, oh boy, we're a mess and we need a influence to kind of fucking level us out because we have no chill. Monday nights, I produce our one-shot series, Side Quests, right here on the channel. It's Mondays at 9:30 Eastern Time. Just last night, we had an incredible game of For the Queen. Go check out the VOD for it. It's very much about, it was a 90s prom night, and it was disgusting in all of the ways I did not want to remember my childhood. So, but go check it out, the VOD. Coming up next week, this following Monday, we're going to be playing Paranoia XP, which I actually get to play in this time. So I'm not just producing, I'm also a client. That's gonna be very exciting. And then Politics and Plagues, you already know what it is. I'm here for that. Wednesday, at 2 Central Time, I'm in a weird time zone, which means 3 Eastern. I'm going to be over on twitch.tv/Steve Jackson Games, helping them to show off the Fantasy Trip. It has been out of print since like the 80s, and they're bringing it back. And they're like, hey, come show this off. So yeah, I'm going to be an orc wizard named, oh God, well, I don't have my notes up. It was like Matilda Spell Screamer or something. She's pretty great. Her wizard staff is a giant like musket. She shoots lightning out of it. The Fantasy Trip's a weird game, and we're gonna play the hell out of it. So yeah, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, Steve Jackson Games. Come check us out. I am part of our writing project over on the Patreon, which we're hoping to get spun back up real soon here. Wheels are in motion. The charity stream kind of did a number on that, unfortunately. And I am all over the Discord. I know I've been absent lately. It's okay. I'm coming back. I'm a mod over there. Just shout for mod things, and there I am. And that is me at the moment.
Yeah, and I am Miriam, your GM for today, and you can find me on the interwebs, well, specifically Twitter only, really, at media_junkie. Everywhere else, I'm usually DRNSIN, which is Dr. Insane. Don't ask, it was something I picked at 13 and it just stuck. You can find me on Discord with that, as well as Instagram, and I do a lot of things. So, I GM here. I am also the GM for the Musafirs, which is also set in Sarzameen, which is the campaign setting I am writing. And I am also a part of Stars Asunder, which Fox has talked about, and also Adventures in Agni, which Angela has talked about. And whenever Vibrant Visible Victorious returns, you can usually find me skulking around over there. And Emissaries of Avithna, where I play the band Tiger Buppershire with way too many feels. And I will also be in Paranoia this coming Monday. And yeah, that's enough about me. And I just want to give out one last shout out to our sponsors, Roll20 and Tabletop Loot, so Nordware and Devon Rue for sponsoring and supporting us on this channel. And if you want to support us, you can give us your bits, your juicy bits as well. Well, that came out wrong. That's not what I meant. Bits. Bits, as well as subs.
Just
and
the bits.
in addition, we have our Patreon that supports all of our operations. And always join us on our Discord, which gets us where there's awesome, not awful. I don't know why my mouth was saying one thing another. Awesome people on it. And next up, I believe, is Riffs at about 8 p.m. Eastern, so in about an hour. Are we going to raid? I'm just thinking whether we should raid between then and now. Let me see who's around at this hour. There's lots of people around at this hour. Scraticus is around, so we can let's raid him. All right, so we are going to be raiding, if I can spell to save my life. I actually spelt it right. So we are going to be raiding in a couple of minutes. Get your raid emotes and say hello. And see you next week for our ultimate episode. Bye, everybody.